Is it a good time to buy a home? Are we in a housing recession, or are we in simply a correction? And then how long will that correction last? I'm going over that article and an article of what Jeff Bezos is doing in this market. Kind of gives a vision of what he sees going forward. Welcome everyone to Real Estate Daily. My name is Troy, and Monday through Saturday we go over the latest news in real estate, housing, and the mortgage markets. Now, before we jump into those articles, let's go hit that, smash that like button, boom, 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 and then hit that subscribe button. Really helps the channel out. And then if you want to be notified daily of our 5 to 10 minute news articles and what we really think was happening in the housing market, please hit that notification button. We really would appreciate it. Well, let's just jump right into the content. Here is a USA Today article, and this is very interesting. It says, is the housing market in a recession or a correction? Now, those are two simply different things. Now, of course, the definition of us being in a recession as an economy is 2 months of negative GDP growth, which we have now already seen. But there's a huge debate here, amongst, Washington, D.C., analysts and economists, as well as us here in the real estate market. Are we really in a recession? I mean, we're seeing that unemployment is so low, and again today, 11 million jobs were unfilled in the month of July, which is ridiculous. That means even if we had 11 more million people, they could all obviously fill those jobs up. But I really wanted to go over this particular article. I think it had a lot of substance in it. Now, I'm going to go scan down here a little bit. And it says key points, and it says 3 key points I want to go over. It says the top U.S. home builder and realtor trade group says the housing industry is in a recession. Now, I believe that U.S. home builders are in a recession. They're here to make money and money only. They're not here to move. There's no personal reasons here. So when they're looking at dollars and cents, and we've seen such a quick and fast rise in prices, there's going to be a slowdown or a cool down. In that cool down, they all panic and they say, I can't make any money. And so they're going to predict a recession coming up. Now, realtor top trade group, well, we'll find out exactly, what everybody says, but I think that they are connected with the new home builders, and they only represent 10% of the market, not a fair representation of the entire market. Next key point here says, other housing experts say the market is in a correction after unsustained and unprecedented growth. Well, what does that actually mean? That means that year over year for the past 3 years, we've seen 20% gains in the housing market. Now, we can't continue to see that. There's going to be a lot of issues, including, qualifications. Are people going to be able to qualify as we keep going up and up and up? We're also seeing that the substance just can't keep growing at that pace. There's going to be a correction. Now, if we're saying that, we're also saying that if we went, instead of 20% growth, if we went to 5% growth, it's still growing. And that's what I think that we're going to see this year. We're going to still see growth all the way through the end of the year. It's just going to be a lot less. Now, how is the media going to spin this? Are they going to spin it as a huge negative, or are they going to spin it as a positive? Hey, we went through a recession, or at least quote unquote a recession, yet the housing market still went up. Even in the wake of, we're looking at interest rates going up and up and up, we're still seeing a growth in the housing market. But other outlets are spinning it like, oh my God, we went down 1% in home values from May to June. Well, they spin it so negatively. We're still up 19% from the year before. But that information isn't given to you. So it's all about perception in the media, and I'm seeing a lot of negative media articles now out there, yet I do see boots on the ground. My clients, out there looking at homes, putting offers in homes, homes going over, asking again, multiple offers. We're seeing all that back out there. So we're going to find out in September what the August numbers are, but I think that they're going to be so much better than what people think. Third part here says Fed Reserve Chair Powell says market needs a reset where supply and demand for homes is in sync. Now, I agree. When the Fed raises, overnight rates, Fed rates, they're doing it so they're looking at a 12-month projection. But there's collateral damage up front, and I've gone over this many, many times. Collateral damage is the housing market and it's the credit market. Credit market being your credit cards, your short-term interest rates, they all go up and up and up. So money becomes more expensive on short-term. Now, long-term, like mortgages, they are going up, but they don't go up as fast a pace. I know that 3 months ago, I reported that I received in the mail from a credit card company that they had gone to 25% interest on my credit cards. I'm sure it's gone more. I completely paid them off, and I suggest if you're able to do that, God help you, that you actually can't pay them off, because otherwise you're going to be paying 25% on your money if you hold a balance for 12 months. Ridiculous. So with that all being said, are we going back to this? Is the housing market in a recession or correction? I actually think it was in a correction somewhat in the month of June and then half of July. But as we see the numbers going backwards, that actually is playing out. But I think that we're going to see August numbers look really a lot better than what people anticipate, especially the media anticipates. And we're going to see positive numbers in September for backward-looking August. So with that being said, right now, as I introed into this entire video, is it a good time to buy? I'm telling you right now, there's so many buyers out there on the market, and they are putting offers in, and they are getting homes. What is the alternative is what you got to look at. The alternative is rent. And as we went over yesterday, and we went over last week, and the week before last, rents are at all-time highs, guys. Where do you want to put your money? Into a rental or into a house? You want a stable payment every month that's paying down a mortgage, or do you want to spend money on rent that keeps going up? You have no control over it and will change your budget year over year when you do get that rental increase, a typical rental increase. As well as we're looking at several different cities across the United States that have frozen rents. I mean, again, I look at LA. LA hasn't been able, renters in LA have enjoyed the same rents over the past 3 years. Why? Because the local government is pro-renter and anti-landlord. They're completely anti-landlord. Even though everything's going up, wages are going up, they still don't want landlords, raising rents. And the city of Los Angeles is a perfect example. It is a cesspool of politics there, and that's what's hurting the economy to grow, in that city. And what does it do? They don't put the money towards the homeless. They just think that, because the homeless aren't voters, to be very frank with you, what do? They put it towards, they put their money towards other things, not allowing, landlords to really come in and raise rents and then bring the city's value up. So another day, another discussion, another opinion. Let's go on to the next article. We've seen a lot of companies out there that's come into the market in the last 3 years. They're called iBuyer companies. Zillow was one of the first ones. They jumped in, thought they were the king of the hill, completely crashed and burned, and they pulled out. Now we've seen a lot of other iBuying companies, and their valuations were greater than the traditional companies like Remax or Coldwell Banker or their bigger subsidiaries. And it just was a joke, because they were being funded over and over by VC, and I call it dumb capital, going into them. They had a good story, a terrible launch, and a terrible, plan going out there. But it was a good story. I have a lot of friends who have good stories and they have skated through life to a certain point with their good stories. But when it comes to execution, they can't execute, and then they finally get wrecked. This is another tale of an iBuying company that has wrecked a VC companies and funding companies. It says real estate tech startup Really to shut down after raising $100 million 1 year ago. Can you imagine that? You raised $100 million and 12 months later, you have just lost tens of millions of dollars. You're completely crushed. You're a house of cards, which is the picture here. This is what's happening with all these iBuying companies. They continue to lose money, and dumb capital keeps coming in and propping them up. We've said it. They were born out of a real estate market that is going up. When things are going up, it's just like when crypto, everyone's happy. You get all the idiots jumping in, retail. Well, now you get all these idiot tech startups jumping in. And the second the music stops, where are they at? They can't even make money on the greatest market of all time. And the second the music stops, they just collapse and they lose all kinds of money for all the venture capitalists or all the dumb money that went in and invested in them. $100 million, 12 months later, you want to laugh it off. Dumb money needs to really think about what they're doing. If you looked at our crypto channel yesterday, and I know that me and my producer Emmy went over it, there was another company, crypto company that went out there, raised $15 million in capital, and eventually has just blown it all. The founders, one co-founder left. They gave him a $1.5 million exit. You know, can you imagine a 15.5 they raise and 1.5? One of the co-founders leave, and he gets 1.5 on the way out the door. The NFTs that are there are only worth $100 and something. There's 10,000 of them. Yet they're just blowing money left and right. One of the other founders took $2 million out of the bank account and then basically gambled it away. And then he just came back and said that it was he'll pay it back. What a joke! This is happening all, you know, when money was cheap a year ago. This is the stupid way to invest, and then it just all collapsed when things go bad. Next article here is Jeff Bezos. So I talked about what Jeff Bezos is doing. It says Jeff Bezos is betting on housing slide. His single family rental play appears to be well timed. Guys, I keep telling you this. Anyone that tells you not to buy a home right now is wanting you to rent. And if they want you to rent, they're going to charge you very close to what it would cost for a mortgage on that house for rental. It is stupid. And here it goes. It says right here, billionaires like Microsoft Corporation co-founder Bill Gates likely saw an opportunity for land investments to return tenfold by the way of food shortages well ahead of time. These guys, Bezos, it doesn't matter, Bill Gates, they're buying up property and land. And then they're able to turn around and take the majority of people that aren't smart enough to buy a house, and they utilize they gain their trust, and then you go and you rent these homes for $2,500, for $3,000, almost what a mortgage is. And again, they make you poor. Everyone thinks that they're gonna, you know, if you don't own a home, there is a significant difference in wealth from a renter to a homeowner. And I've seen it many, many times that people have said to me over the past 3 years, oh, wait till the housing market crashes. How is it crashing if BlackRock, is buying houses like crazy, a $50 billion fund? Jeff Bezos is buying homes and renting them out. Bill Gates is buying land, farmland, and eating it all up. And then he's going to rent it back to farmers and then charge for that land. And that's only going to raise rents. That's going to raise food prices. Guys, think about this. If you're not out there buying a house, or at least getting a plan to buy a house, what is going to happen to your future? There is going to be, and this is what's happening if you look at the World Economic Forum, or you look at some of the bigger, associations in the world, what are they doing? They're splitting wealth. They're going to split wealth. They're going to take the middle class and they're going to split them. You're either it's the have and the have-nots. And this is what is happening here in the United States. If you don't own property, you are definitely on the have-not side. And if they make it worse enough, you will not own homes and you will not have your wealth going forward as you get older. Next article here is Fed rate hikes won't bring down inflation as long as government spending stays high. We can't say this anymore. If the Fed if the government keeps spending money, they just blew $1 trillion. They will bill if it's signed into law. They will blow $1 trillion in a month. We are supposed to be quantitative tightening. That means we're supposed to be taking money out of the economy. How do you take money out of the economy if you go ahead and have the Inflation Reduction Act, which was so bullshit? if you give $250 billion over to the chip manufacturers who are already making enormous amounts of money, and you give them $250 billion more, seems like Nancy Pelosi made off with that with her stock picks, more than we needed to give $250 billion, which we don't have. And then last week, another shot at getting more votes. Hey, I'm going to give everyone $10,000, in student loan debt. I'm going to wipe it out. Did you even notice what student loan debt, if we look at the average student loan debt at major colleges are, what is the average student loan debt at Notre Dame, a big Catholic college? It's only $17,000. There's over, almost $2 trillion in student loan debt. Are we going to wipe out $1 trillion? Where are we going to wipe it out? How are we going to wipe it out? Are we going to borrow another $1 trillion for that? If we do, inflation just keeps going up, because the government keeps utilizing and keeps spending money. We're not going to get anywhere. Guys, you have a chance to make a difference this November. Make a difference. Stop, demand that your, congressman or House of, any congressman, I should say, that they stop spending money. And in fact, let's reduce it. I mean, let's reduce some of the programs that are out there. I know it's not a popular, thought, but it doesn't even matter. We as a people are going to be punished for their spending, meaning all these prices that are going up, they're going to stay there. They're not going down. It's newsflash. Here in Southern California, we're not going below $4 gas prices again, unless there's a pandemic or some major black swan event. It's not going to happen. If you think the Fed is going to try to lower rates or raise rates to stop people buying, it doesn't matter. We are dependent on foreign oil. Our government, current government, has made us dependent on dirty foreign oil, and the foreign oil doesn't like us. They hate us. OPEC does not like us anymore. And they have now kept their oil prices up. Russia kept their oil prices up. Middle East kept their oil prices up. We're not going below 4, guys. It doesn't matter how much the Fed raises rates. You need to consider that. So I'm going to get off my opinion piece and my high horse. I know my producer Amy wants to keep us under 10 minutes, which I probably blew past that already. Let's jump into rates. Saw rates jump yesterday. 30-year conventional went up almost 9 basis points. So did FHA. 15-year conforming jumped up 13. The jumbo market's been all over the place. It's gone up 20 basis points one day, gone down 17 yesterday. Kind of crazy. Again, if I'm out there, I'm thinking about buying a house. Otherwise, I will continue to see rental rates go up and up and up every single year. Guys, thank you very much for joining me today. If you have any comments, leave it below. Otherwise, check out our other platforms, our Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Check us out there. We have quite a lot of content going on, even shorts right here in YouTube. We see that blowing up. Little tips and tricks on what's going on with the housing market, as well as your house and how you deal with neighbors and how boundaries are set. Otherwise, you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you tomorrow.